granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Okay, so you see, things can get better. There has been a court ruling in regard to these nurses. I made a video about it earlier. You would have seen this photo, probably in the thumbnail. And these nurses were complaining because they were subjected to a hostile, humiliating and degrading environment by the NHS, which seems to have a thing about bullying nurses, doesn't it? After a transgender colleague, well, I wouldn't call that person a colleague, was allowed to use female changing rooms, a judge has ruled. The group brought a claim against County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust after Rose Henderson, a biological male who identifies as a woman, was allowed to use the women's changing facilities at Darlington Memorial Hospital. The nurses claimed the trans woman, the man, stared at colleagues, repeatedly asked one of them why she was not getting changed, and walked round the room in boxer shorts. I think it's plainly obvious that that's a man who was exercising power over women because he could, and the NHS was facilitating this. A lot of nurses just gave in, but these four decided to fight it, and they filed a claim against the trust on the grounds of sexual harassment, discrimination, victimisation and breaches of the right to a private life. In a judgment handed down on Friday, and this must be about 2 years now, these women have been fighting this battle. In a judgment handed down on Friday, the tribunal concluded that the trust unlawfully discriminated against the female nurses by requiring them to share female-only changing rooms with their transgender, and as I said, I wouldn't call that chap a colleague by any stretch of the imagination. Employment Judge Sweeney and tribunal members Denise New and Malcolm Brain said this had the effect of violating the dignity of the nurses. Bethany Hutchinson, I think that's this lady here, Bethany Hutchinson, a Darlington nurse who led the claim against County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust, called the ruling a victory for common sense. It's a victory actually for women. Now, you may remember the or rather for nurses, you may remember the Sandy Peggy case, and Kemi Badenoch has accused the NHS Trust there of bullying Sandy Peggy with bureaucratic oppression, as she put it. She warns Bridget Phillipson that is causing all sorts of problems by delaying trans guidance. We have the guidance. The NHS is just not applying it. The nurse at the centre of a high-profile tribunal, that was, I've forgotten, Dr. Overton, came into the nurses' changing room when Sandy Peggy was trying to deal with the effects of having a heavy period, and Nurse Peggy told him that he didn't belong in that changing room. And then Dr. Overton went weeping to his line manager or whatever they call it, and then the sky fell in on Nurse Peggy, but fortunately Nurse Peggy held it back up again and pushed it right into their faces. The Conservative Party leader demanded that Bridget Phillipson, the Equalities Minister, they've got to find jobs for these people, haven't they? Publish revised guidance in the wake of a Supreme Court ruling on gender and sex. They already have the law. The fact is that the NHS is slapping down nurses for some reason. I don't know why. There's another nurse who referred to a patient as Mr. Because she was talking about putting a catheter in, and there's a different procedure for Mr. than for a Mrs. with a catheter. And this self-identified female went ballistic. And just a minute, I'm going to find that. Nurse Melly, she didn't get any help from the Royal College of Nursing when the trust that employed her started to bully her, because she referred to this prisoner who was in prison for this crime, but who liked to say he was a woman. She was the one who was being punished by the NHS Trust. I mean, it's completely unbelievable. But there is a light at the end of this tunnel. These women here have been vindicated in their fight, and I'm assuming that the other two nurses will also be vindicated, as will many of the others who are also being similarly bullied, I suppose. So that's good, isn't it? Now, as you will see, I've magically changed my outfit. No, this is the next day. I made that video yesterday, and today I decided I was going to upload this video about the attack on nursing that's coming from all quarters. It's coming from the College of Nursing, it's coming from the nursing unions, it's coming from the NHS. It's just unbelievable. And in my opinion, the problem is that it used to be that nurses were their own order. They were based on a sort of convent system, and the matron was the abbess of the convent, and she was responsible for the nurses. They were in a way separate from the hospital. And then the NHS brought them all under the wing of the NHS, and then there were hospital managers, and the matron was done away with. And in my opinion, that was probably the worst possible thing that could have happened to the nursing profession. And now the nursing unions and the administrations have been captured by fashionable ideas of transgenderism and all that sort of thing. And we've got this, a perfectly good nurse being bullied by the system, as we saw with the Darlington nurses. They had to go to court to vindicate themselves. Well, here we have just one nurse, and I said I think she'd probably be all right, and then this turned up the very, that afternoon or whatever, when I made that video the other day. And it says here, nurse who called trans paedophile Mr. facing sack. NHS worker risks losing job for breaching conduct policy after suffering racially aggravated assault by inmate from male prison. You see, just in case you weren't aware of this particular case, what happened was Nurse Melly was dealing with a prisoner who was on hospital release. So there was a police officer there as well, and this male prisoner, who identified as a female, needed some sort of medical procedure which involved catheterization, and the nurse was on the phone talking to a doctor who of course wasn't there. She was doing all this on her own, and she referred to the patient as Mr. whatever his name was. Not prisoner number whatever, which is what he should have been called. No, she did him the honour of referring to him as a civilian human being. This guy was in prison for this sort of a crime, said he was a female. When she referred to him as Mr. to the doctor over the phone, he went crazy. I mean, he was obviously crazy to begin with. And he called her the N-word 2 or 3 times, as well as trying to attack her. He was restrained by the police officer. But Jennifer Melly was issued with a written warning for her bad behaviour to this chap because she called him Mr. when she was discussing the nature of the medical procedure that she was about to perform on him. Miss Mellis said she referred to the individual. Oh, go away. She referred to the individual, an inmate from a high security men's prison, listed as male on their medical record, as Mr. and he, while discussing the use of the catheter. She told them, if you notice the Telegraph has caved to this, she told him, sorry, I cannot refer to you as her or she, as it's against my faith and Christian values, but I can call you by your name. And I'd say that was more than reasonable, considering the sort of dirtbag that he was. So she was treating him like a human being, which is an honour that he was absolutely not extending to her. Miss Mellis said the patient then subjected her to a racially and religiously aggravated assault, lunging at her and calling her a N-word 3 times. Despite this, she was referred to the Nursing and Midwifery Council over alleged breaches of its conduct policy. The NMC code states that nurses should not express personal beliefs in an inappropriate way, even for religious reasons. So they are getting at her. Now, what they are saying is, here, you, Ms. Melly, are a servant of the state, and you have to say what the state tells you to say, and that's it. That's it. So the battles are not won, and in my opinion they won't be won until the nursing profession is taken out of the hands of paid bureaucrats. I really do think we need to go back to the matron system, where nurses are separate and they're part of their own order, and they belong to a separate section which is administered by somebody who's risen through the ranks, not some bureaucrat who's been appointed over them and who is likely to be stuck with all sorts of PC nonsense. Anyway, I thought I'd just put this in to the video I made, and so let's get back to the previous video. Now, there is something I want to ask you. Since I've stopped interrupting my videos to ask you to subscribe, to like, and to click the notification button, I have been just putting a little animation up. My subscription numbers have been dropping quite catastrophically. Now, I know that YouTube is playing hanky-panky with subscription figures, and I've got a few mailings from different people who know a bit more about this, who said that I'm right in my assessment, that there's something going on with YouTube, with the algorithm, or possibly some sort of political interference. Who knows? But anyway, I stopped interrupting my videos with a personal appeal, and yeah, look, my figures are going down. So please, I want to ask you, please like, please subscribe, check you're still subscribed, keep on checking, because they keep dropping subscriptions for some reason. And yeah, that's it. And click the notification button. That sometimes helps, although I have been told, somebody says he does it every time and the subscription keeps dropping anyway. So I just want you to be aware of that. All right, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.